Gordon, send more house to save the house. Come on, the house!
I like to talk a bit about Colin Milburn, one of the nicest, greatest guys I've played with. He liked to drink. He only got 250s. One was against Burnley. I don't know who the other one was against. But what he did, he trebled our membership.
Yeah.
Can you remember that?
Yeah, I mean, I can't. I can remember.
He trebled our membership.
Yeah.
And
build up, Brian. Can you remember what happened on the build up? Because that was a real signing. That, you know, it was a fantastic.
I don't. I mean, I didn't get involved. Look, Jez, all I did, I practiced, worked hard with me. I didn't get involved behind the scenes. Never did do. I didn't know. I knew we were a great signing because in them days, senior players, I like, well, I probably were one of the six. So you sat at back on like half a settee. You used to have half a settee back at the changing rooms, another one. And he sat next to me, Colin. I used to get on with him. We finished the match. He says, he gets hold of Lofty and me, and he says, you fancy a pint up at Tim Bobbin? I said, why? He said, this reporter's after the tail. He said, but he'll have to come with us for a drink. Anyway, another lad that passed me, Keith McD, who was the Telegraph sports writer. So he says to Keith, you'll have to come up, you know, like. So he said, well, I've got my wife with me, I'll get her to drop me off. So we all went. So he gets his pad out, his pencil, and Colin said, what are you having? He said, well, I'm not a big, I'll have half. So he has off, I had a bottle, Lofty had a pint, he'd 2 pints. He used to order 2 at a time. Seriously. And he went to gulper, Jez. He just seemed to just sit, but he seemed to go. So he drinks his pint. Right, Keith says, right, what I'd like to know. Oh, hang on a minute. It's Brian's turn. So I gets around. Lofty obviously weren't a drinker. Anyway, he ends up. Didn't get the story. He will laid flat out thing at Tim Bobbin. So he rings his wife, right, said, can you pick him up? He's had a few drinks, didn't get the story. And me and Lofty carried him out and put him in back seat. And he never, ever got the story. And he never attempted to get another story off. He said, he won't come again. He said, so, yeah, great guy.
That was 1976, Brian, that.
Yeah. Well, just tell another, if you don't mind, about him. He said, how did you go on, you know, about his eye and all this and that. He said, are you taking it here? I said, you want to try it? You know, you could talk to him about it. So we turns up at practice, right, and he comes over to me. He'd 2 elastoplasters. He put them over my eye. He said, right, you go and have a do now. And he put the 2 plasters on my eye. So he had a do. And I'm telling you, how he battered, I don't. It took me about 10 minutes to hit one, let alone, you know, I managed, it sorted itself out after a bit, but blinking, I can then just, because I'd said, like, I got the plasters and went, took them off my eye and took off my eyebrow off. Seriously, it's not meant up. But what a great guy. What a great guy. I mean, he'd be 20 stone, he could still put a ball down, you know. I mean, he did his fair amount of bowling. I don't know what wickets he got. Yeah. He only got 2 50s. Have you got did he got a 50 against Burnley? Is that right?
I haven't found that. I just looked at his first game then when he played. Do you know about him, Joe Martin? Do you know about Colin Milburn and what he was about?
I have a really sort of rudimentary understanding of him. I know he played for England, and I know he lost his eye in a car accident. Is that right?
Right, yeah, and it was a real. I mean, that's why it does interest me, and I know what you're saying, Iggy, about not being involved in the, you know, in the research and getting pros, etc. But that was a real coup, in, you know, even though he had.
Oh, it were. I say it doubled on the membership, which were great, which we needed the money. you know.
Yeah, and I watched a play just recently. I don't know what. I think it was something on Twitter by, and it was like an artist that played Milburn and other characters within the play, and he was talking of how he was going to be a regular England cricketer, but obviously he drank a few before he lost his eye.
Of course he did, yeah. Well, he could drink, Jace. He lodged with Peter Wade, who on Pavilion Road. He had a news agent, right? And Peter told me, he said, he'd go out at night, buy a bottle of whiskey, go down to Locarno, seriously, on his own, right, up in his cellar, come back morning after, make them the breakfast, he'd make them all the breakfasts, I think, not the only him and Beryl then, make the breakfast, and then go and play at the afternoon. Right. So that's the type of bloke he were. Incredible, Jez. Yeah. You know, he could drink. Well, we used to call him the sipper. He never like gulped it. You know, like you could text on and then finish it off. You never see him do like that. But he'd get to, not all time, but if he were thirsty, he'd get 2 pints. Yeah.
Iggy, me and you have a very good mutual friend in Keith Fairclough.
Yeah.
I speak to him regularly. Love him to pieces. Spoke to him today. He asked me to ask you, who was the best captain you played under?
Oh, I can't even. I played under a lot. They all had the different. I'm not going to.
I think he was intimating that it was him.
Second team captain, him. Right? He was a great second team captain. I played under. I can't. I played under that many. They're all good. I mean, they're all good.
What was it like playing with Keith?
All right, great. Played most time. I mean, when we were in second, saved it. Well, they didn't get a ban, but we played a cup match, and Jez will probably know him. He was an inspector. I don't know. He didn't get on with Keith at all, and we played on a. Well, I thought our wickets were bad. We played on a real bad one at Baker. We needed to get 100. We batted first, and I'll be honest, I batted all innings for 50. The complete overs. He couldn't score runs. He just said, "Stay in, don't stay in." So he stayed in, and we got 100. So we thought that's a winning score. There's a lad there. He'd just come down for. I can't remember his name. He'd come down for. He was good. Anyway, we got a few early wickets. He come in about number 3. Anyway, he's on about 20 odd. Got him out. We're going to win. Not know we're bowling. He slashes at this ball, Joe. He was square with his bat. And I can't describe it. It looped. It looped to me. I mean, it weren't a fine edge. It was a thick edge.
Yeah.
Right. We never even looked. You know, we all run to ball, well bowled, and this. And he give him no out, this umpire. So I can see him changing from red to pink. So I'm at side of him. So he has a real, well, what did it hit? And he said, I'm the umpire. If I give him not out, he's not out. So he takes another stride towards him. Right. So I just put my arm, I just grabbed, he'll tell you, just grabbed him. Anyway, he got reported. And he had to miss 2 matches. But luckily enough, knowing Keith, we were on holiday for the next 2 years. So it's true. So he got banned for 2 weeks when he was on holiday. So it worked out. It worked out fine. I've looked this up and I can't find it. He says it's first team. Rusty were playing in the slip. They were in slips, and they were opening batter for Enfield. And I caught him 4 times and not given out. Nicks, couple of feathers, couple of nicks, and eventually he plays at another. I'm not joking. He must have been 3 or 4 inches off it. He's batted floor, right, going to drive. Just for ball had turned. I just went, "He's umpire," and he fired it. He gave him out, and he walked past. And he said, "You cheating bastard!" And I said, so I run for him, and Rusty left me. I was going for Boston. I was going for it. At that stage, it was 35 for 4.
Yeah.
You know, so I thought, make it right. Can't remember his name. Now, I've tried to look it up, and I can't see it. So it must have been a second team match. It must have. Yeah. Rusty said it was a first team match. No, I don't think it were.
What, Brian, just, you know, I'm just thinking of the sides in the early 80s with, you know, like John.
Good sides. Evan Gray, yeah.
Evan Gray, yeah. All these people. What's your memories of that period?
Evan Gray, I'll tell you what, 81. 81 was the best side in the league, Jez.
Yeah.
We should have won the league that year. They were fabulous. I mean, his first game we're playing Haslingden, and I think it were Bush and Allen. They got the first 5 out.
Yeah.
Right? And they were only like 50 odd. So I don't know what captain is. He just said, we better give him a bowl. You know, he's a New Zealand test bowler. First over, he gets somebody out. He then ended up getting about an over later going hat trick. I stumped his hat trick. He bowled 1, trick caught 1. I stumped him and he got an hat trick. He got 4 for 9 in 5 overs.
Yeah, it wasn't quality.
Yeah, we better, but it was quality. It was quality. We played, it were 4 points for a win, 5 points if we got the opposition out. But when it was between us and Rottenstall only needed, we had to get 5 points.
Yeah.
Right? There was, what we called, Franklin Stevenson.
Yeah.
To be last match at season, Jez. You have to look at Franklin Stevenson, and they put 3 second team left-handers in to nullify spin.
Yeah.
I know I got a duck. I know we won easy.
Yeah.
We won easy, but we couldn't get the later batsman out. I don't know his analysis were. Have you got it there?
Get at the Rottenstall game, the last game of the season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They put 4 for 23 off 12.
What were it?
4 for 23 off 12.
Overs, right. I know they put some second teamers in, so left-handers to nullify his spin. If it had got the right hand, it'd have done it, but they didn't. Best history. We just didn't know how to win. We won Allen Cup.
Yeah. So you went through that, Brian. You've gone from that, like we were saying, you know, obviously right through the 60s, the mid and late 60s. You're playing a lot of first team cricket. Then right through the 70s, we're not really that successful, but you're seeing a good side come with Stan.
Yeah. Well, I remember Blaze 83.
Yeah.
Blaze
then comes
through. Right away, you could tell. All right, took him a bit to get, but once after he got his first 50, that was it.
Yeah.
Just runs. Tremendous. Best batter. And I've seen in a lot of good ones.
Okay. So you've seen so many ups and downs. Tell us about some more stories of your playing days.
A few different tales. I just wanted to touch on wicket keepers, Joe.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I'll talk my era first. Best wicket keeper was like Alan Haig. In fact, his son-in-law holds the record, which I hope you beat, Joe. Bradley. That's his son-in-law. Yeah, that's his son-in-law. Johnny Wardle wanted to take him to Yorkshire. He was that good. Right. I mean, he was fab. I'm not being. There were him. Close behind him were Ray Kelly at East Lancs, Fred Mitchell, John Mitchell. They were all, though, when I was young, they were all the wicket keepers. We're in the mid-30s, Joe.
Right, okay.
And they were all decent. Gar Stansfield, Bill Hayes, come from Lancashire. He stumped at Church.
Right.
He was on Lancashire's books. And then obviously Chris Scott, fantastic. He did 2 spells there. He was a great wicketkeeper. And like yourself, Joe, I'd just like to say that if you keep at it, you'll make every record going. You've got to keep at it, Joe.
Well, that's very kind of you, Iggy.
No, you'll eat, man. I mean, I won't see it. I'll be pushing daisies up then. But you I've seen the wicket. I mean, I watch them, and as far as I'm concerned, you're best in league. And that's my opinion. So, not just because you're at Lowerhouse. I mean, I rate a lot of other wicket keepers. There's no two ways about it. You know, if you keep at it, you should break every record going.
Well,
Really
well, the way I
what's your feeling? Are you still? You've got to be driven. I was driven, Joe. You know, you've got to be driven. Are you driven? Yeah.
Yeah, I think I've always been really fortunate to have professionals that have invested a lot of time in me.
Yeah.
So Francois was brilliant when he first came, hitting balls and stuff. Corbus the same. We worked with each other. I'd throw balls at him and he'd hit them at me. And in the past 3 years, Oki has been absolutely amazing. Yeah, but I can't sort of put enough emphasis on what Oki did for me.
Right.
We worked every Tuesday and Thursday for 3 years. And I'd throw for him for half an hour, 45 minutes, and then he'd do wicket keeping with me every Tuesday and Thursday for 45 minutes an hour. Yeah. And he would do whatever I wanted him to do, whatever I felt I needed.
I used to watch you knock up. It was great. Doing none of that. Doing honestly, none of that when I, didn't get coached. Nothing.
No.
I said John Richardson, when we went out for a night out with him, the Burnley wicket keeper. I mean, Burnley lights didn't go on then. He used to say, "Well, you want to do this? I'll watch you." I got a lot of help off him. Real lot of help off him. Not that with no wicket, I mean, when we started being caught. I mean, I'd learned all different. You get into an habit, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely.
I used to say, "What are you walking in for?" I mean, they all do it now. In them days, you keep still, and that's what you were taught.
Yeah.
It's done different now. Done a lot different. But if it works, it works, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like I've never heard of these trigger movements till I started.
No.
All my trigger movement were 1 foot down and in my half hitting. that was the table with Stam. We well. We did. We beat Burnley a lot actually. I'd play where we beat even my era beat, and we're playing on turf, and they didn't get so many, and I didn't taught them. Or did I? Anyway, Stan come in, and he's like 14, and I can't remember my mid-30, and Joe Fletcher were causing me a bit of bother. What a great bowler, Joe. He only moved it a little bit, but that's all. You only to move it like inch and a half, and you've got to edge it back. These with big swing, you just let him go, can't you? We were playing, and we wanted either 4 or 6 to win. So we had a chat. I said, right. And they brought Joe back on at the far end. What's the road called?
Not the Belvedere Road.
Belvedere Road. So I says to Stan, right, if this is in my half, it's going. So, because he'll tell you this tale. So he got a bit off volley, cracking off volley, straight as a die. So I just hit straight through it. And I knew I'd middled it. They brought people in, so I thought, I'm not going to get caught. Anyway, it's going up in air, so I put my bat under my arm. I just went like that to Stan. Come on, Stan. Let's go. He can't even reach bound. After booing, Burnley started having a go. They started having a go. And I think it just banged short. We weren't to 6. It weren't so far off. We weren't bad in them days because the bats weren't like they were now. But don't you, when when you've.
Although it's a very rare feeling now for me, to be honest with you. But
hey, Joe,
I've
never had 100, Joe. Never had 100. So, there you go.
Well,
I just say, I just regret walking on that. Should have got the 100 and then let him bowl me or something like that.
Well, you say you regret walking, Higgy. I mean,
it's an actual thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
for your career, it's just an actual thing.
I always walk, and in some of my early first team games, It was laid out very
clearly
clearly that
they don't even up, Joe, do they? Well, in my day, they did. They did, because if I didn't walk, they didn't give me. You know, I'm talking, you know, the early years.
Yeah.
But now you could walk, Joe, and you could miss it, and it'd still give you out, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know. It don't even itself out, Joe.
No.
I'll go back to Steve Warp, one of the greatest Australian batters. We're playing at Nels. He comes into bat. We've got to cut, and they put Dave Hawley on to bowl at him. So he bowls up, there's Dave, and he beats him with first balls. I thought, right. I just says, went over my wicket. It's not too close, you know, social contact. I just says, Australian Test player. Anyway, he just turned round, he just looked at me, smiled, and turned away. So he bowls next, and he beats him again. I says to him, let me get it right. He's not a magic wand. So he just turned round. He just looked at me, just smiled at me, never said a word. Bowls again. He beats him again. I don't know why. He beat him again. I said, let me guess, best of three. And he just turned round, looked at me. He put next 3 balls into park. He turned round, doffed his cap and went, F off. Back on. I thought, keep your mouth shut, Brian. Keep your mouth shut. Don't do it again. Yeah. I only went for balls.
He got what we approached to batting against Charlie Griffith? What were you planning to bat against him?
My plan worked perfectly. I know they played him against once, right? And John Ritchie, God rest his soul, who passed away on Saturday, I said, Joe Fletcher's bowling at me now. He said, I'll walk out of my crease. Won't bowl and wickets. Anyway, third ball he did do. But if you check my stump, Joe Fletcher, third ball.
Stanley, Paul tells a brilliant story about when he were facing Paul Rifle.
Oh, right. I can't remember that.
Really quick.
It's on the Flegs podcast. He says that Paul Rifle were bowling like stink, and they had Barry Knowles on, and Chippy and Paul were batting last pair, frustrating Haslam a bit. And Bobby Grimshaw says, right, Paul, get loose to Paul Rifle. And Paul says he walked down wicket, says to Chippy, fuck this. I'm not hanging around to face him. He said he just kept running down wicket to try and smack Barry, but Barry Knowles for 6 and got stumped.
I'm off your pot.
The other one that Paul did with Alan Donald, he went into bat at Rishton, last man, Chippy's facing, and Andy Bartley's wicket keeping for Rishton stood well back, and he goes in and Chippy says to Paul, "Is that far back, stumper, that there's a 1 there?" And our Paul said, "Not today, there is."
Well, Jace, did you make your debut week before we played Mike Loading? Because that was the first time I wore an helmet. Right.
That was my debut was the game at Rishton in '81.
Was it? I can't remember, Jace. I can't remember. I know when we played. Frank Martindale, right, a good friend of mine, their wicket keeper. We beat them twice. We beat them in Cup.
Yeah.
And we beat them in League there. And he says to him, full run. And it was the only time. And I think they'd re-cut the wicket. It was green when we played them. And he said, full run. Full run. They kicked off at side screen. I had no helmet on. I think they might have come in. Anyway, I sent for one. I thought, blinking it. That's a bit sharp. And I know, listen to this. So Frank stood in his normal position for him that we've been keeping all year, and he bowled first ball, and it went a bumper short of a length. I just let it go. Well, I just let it go. Frank took it above his head. He went, "Oh, me." And they all went back 20 yards. And I said to him, "I don't go that far for my holiday." So, honest, he went that far back. You couldn't have a conversation. He got 9 for 13.
Yeah.
that day. He bowled me. I only got a couple. I think he bowled. No, sorry. Yes, he bowled me. He had first few cut. I think he bowled about 5 of us. York. You couldn't stand up.
He had 7.
You know, the pace was unbelievable. But there's not like this where did you sit ball? You can always sit ball. Doing something about it's a different matter. I could sit ball. I know. As I say, I went an helmet, and first time I wore one, and it wasn't done any good. They were like the plastic grill type. Not weren't a grill. It was like a plastic with air holes in, and so I thought, blinking.
Remember them?
Yeah.
We used to keep them in cistern cupboard at club, didn't we? Where boiler work.
Yeah.
Just so that they really did steam up when you went out to bat with them.
Yeah.
It's a bit like bar staff are wearing now, though.
Yeah. In fact, them had their bar staff had a bit more protection than what we had.
Thank you to our 3 sponsors for supporting our podcast. John Russell's Art Caterers and Milltown Pies, who offer fantastic catering services, Alexander Grace Law, who provide modern and client-led legal services, and SPE Furnishings, who offer high-quality furnishings and electrical items at fantastic prices.
Right, and just cast your mind back to playing a game where, because you and your very good friend Stan would open the batting very, on regular occurrences, and then one of the fielders got injured for the opposition, and you had to go out to field.
Yeah. What in them days, as you know, they always threw the wicket keeper on as sub-fielder because they couldn't field. Unfortunately, I could field. Not be funny. So they put me at the usual sub-fielding position. I can't remember, I had a fine leg or third man. Right. Anyway, was it Enfield or Church, Jez? Like one of them. Anyway, they must have dropped 5 catches. I'm not joking. They were dropping them for fun. Anyway, Stan tries to hoop one and it flies over his head. And I had a run from fine leg to third man, a third man to finally dived and caught it. I threw the ball back to him. I said, you asked Blaze about that because Blaze won't win. The Blaze were playing. But he said, bloody hell, keep out of his row. He's not happy.
So you can remember that? There weren't any... Did you do it on purpose because it was Stan, or just because you were...
No, I'll tell you what, like I walked, if I went out in some field, and I've seen it done loads of times where the oppositions just drop dollies of catching, on purpose. Yeah. Used to dread having to put a subfield on if we were playing Burnley because he used to put Bernard Labby on, and he were a bad fielder anyway. So I always said, I'll go if I go on and Baldwin comes in my direction, I'm going to attempt to catch it.
And how many was Stan on at the time?
He got 50. I think he got 50. Good job. I'll tell you I'm going to give you a bit of a quiz question here, right? I've done it once against Carlton Fords, against Pro for Church. Extremely quick ball. You knew you were going to get a bouncer. I hooped it. I hit it at top for 6. First ball at game, 6. So he sends me another done. I thought, right. I'm going to get another here. But I hit it, lost my balance, and hit my wicket. That's the only time I've been out hit wicket. I hit wicket, second ball at game, 6. You know that 6 and 8 one? Right. I'm going to ask you a question now. It's after I retired. There's an opening batter at Lowerhouse who's hit 2 6s first ball at game. Who is it?
The answer.
What's the answer? You get 1 guess apiece.
2 6s off 1 ball?
No, 2 games. Sorry, I've explained.
All right, okay.
I don't know whether other opening batters have done it anywhere, but first ball at game, 1 match hit to 6.
And then next game.
And then not next game, but same season, hit another 6.
Right, well, I've got my answer, I think.
Right, go on. I'll tell you if you're right.
Finch, yeah?
Correct.
One of them were Anwar Ali at Colne.
Anwar Ali.
Colne.
Right, it just wrecked Rammy in cup week before because they weren't favourites to win it. He was extremely sharp. His first ball, he hit it, you know what, he hit it side at Pavilion. I thought to myself, I bet he's not hit it second. Bloody hell, it worked quick.
Higgin is.
But Baker, first ball, we're playing up near.
Oh, yeah, I remember.
First, I seen it top at square, and he cut it, and he hit them hoardings in front of OT. Can you? Yeah, both first ball at game then.
And Morales' first game for Colin was at Lowerhouse, and if you remember, he kept bowling no balls, and he couldn't work out what was wrong. And the lads that were fielding mid on and mid off for Colin kept moving his ball marker.
Brilliant. That is outstanding.
So pros running into bowl, and Dave kept moving his marker, and he kept bowling no balls. He was like looking behind to say, "What's going on here?" Typical Colin.
That Cone game. There's a few stories about that game. It was Blez's. He'd got married and they had like a party afterwards because he got married abroad and they had like a party back the day before. So Blez was worse for wear.
Very well.
To say the least. But Finchie hit that 6 for ball of the game, and it went over the clubhouse, and it was lost.
Yeah, I thought it might. I thought it where I was looking from. I thought it had its side of it, but it must have gone over. Not really.
And it was lost. 5 overs later, their chairman came out with a brand new ball, and he said, use this. It's brand new. He's only been used once. So you can't use a brand new ball. And also, Blez went out to bat, and Anwar Ali was bowling very, very quick. I think Blez batted 4, maybe. I think he got 130 that day. But I can always.
Is that one where we were well behind? Run
No. That was later on.
That was at Cole.
Yeah.
That's one of the best innings I've seen. He played the field. He kept moving inside. You know, they move a fine leg and they move into it. That was brilliant. That.
Yeah.
We ended up wanting 10 and over, and we won. We went over to spare.
Yeah, he batted with Johnny. Yeah, I think that was 2014.
Were it? Right.
Maybe 2013, something like that. But that 2010 game, he edged his first ball off Anwar Ali through the slips for 4, just taking a wild sort of swipe. The next one was a really, really fast in-swinging Yorker. And I can just remember Blez lifting his right foot up. Then it missed it and it went for 4 byes to fine leg. I couldn't see that.
Brilliant. Any more stories, Brian?
You know, Malinga the Slinger, well, there was a pro played for Asden called Claremont de Pisa. He was square arm. He threw it. I mean, he'd get no ball now. I'll tell you here, because I've got it here. 65, 66. And he looked, he was West Indian. He looked like the devil. His hair was pointed, right? And you couldn't pick bumper up. I'm not joking. It was completely square. He threw it. He threw it. I mean, Slinger, Malinga the Slinger, it's not fully square. This were completely square. We're called Claremont de Pisa. Claremont de Pisa.
Yeah.
It's nearly as bad as that. Hey, Jez, it's nearly as bad as that Jeremy Gibson on tour.
Yeah.
Yeah. Claremont de Pisa played 5 games for the West Indies.
You know, they'd look at it, you know, they do in slow motion. It was completely square arm. It weren't even at an angle, and his wrist used to kink. It used to go. I'm not joking. Unbelievable.
And was it sharp?
What?
Was it sharp? Was it quick?
Yeah. You couldn't. Trouble were you couldn't picture because it comes such a low trajectory. You couldn't really picture what ball up your. I mean, no helmets, no nothing.
No.
You never, you know. I used to go out the door and say to Maury, I'm open at work on Monday, we're playing so and so. Charlie Griffiths, Wesley Hall. Wesley Hall was sharp. He was accurate. I mean, it was Griffiths' opening partner, wasn't it? Griffiths and all. Yeah. They didn't play it same year. I think it was a few years later, weren't it? Yes, when
I think so, yeah. Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah,
Can you tell us, we'll have to edit it out, but will you tell us about when Clifford took you to hospital that time?
Oh, that was incredible. Yeah, it was Mansour Eli. Mansour.
Yeah. I remember the game, actually.
Can you remember? Wayne Daniel was there. Bro.
Why do you have to edit it out?
You'll find out in a minute.
God, I love Clifford. He was brilliant. Like third or fourth ball down, first over, he sent a real sharp, and we're playing on a green, and I caught it. Right, I thought it had gone in all right. I thought, what's that? My glove looked for me. So I took my glove off, Joe, and one of my fingers was stood straight up, dislocated. Right.
God.
So I'm going off. Clifford, hang on, I'll get you to. Don't worry. I think we went to Acklington. That was nearest hospital. I'll get that right. You'll have to get back to bat. You know, like. So he takes me over to hospital. I said, well, I don't know how long I'm going to be here. Hang on, have any change? No. He goes to phone at hospital to ring Maureen, right? And it went something like this. Brian's in hospital, I'll get him back as soon as possible and put phone down. Maureen was sitting there, that. Wonder word. Honest, that is the exact comment. I'll get you back. So he was renowned for being quite a quick driver. So, you know, they put it back in, strapped it up, right, good enough to bat. So he's second off back, and it was like, in them days, it was like, not too late, we were going back. And he says, look at this. Look at this. We got behind, there was a car in front of us, another car in front of us, which one were going slow. I said, look at that. What? Bloody nuns. They're not allowed, they should be allowed to drive at that speed. Look at them three nuns at the back of the car. So he says, like, right. He said, I'm getting round these. So he takes round. We go alongside of it. There were three bloody Labradors. Three Labradors. Oh, bloody hell, you won't tell anybody, will you? Bloody hell, I got to the ground. He didn't know me. 4 walls. I told everybody. And I got back to bat. I don't know whether we won it. I think we might have won it. I don't know. Obviously, I bat late down order. We needed the bat anyway. Yeah, character. Great with Clifford. Yeah. And he used to pick me up. I'll tell you, I didn't have a car when I first started. And he had a good job. He was a rep for a concrete company. He used to pick me up. Well, I worked at Lucas's then. He used to pick me up at Ardgeclough, run me home, get me stuff, and run me down back to club. Because I had to work, morning working. He'd just say, well, Michael, and he used to take me all over. Can't knock him at all. He was great.
Oh, lovely fella, Clifford, and there's so many stories.
Go on, sorry.
In the brain, so many stories about, you know.
Who were it? Anthony Gear. And he bought him a white top. I can't remember. He was a player.
Yeah.
I can't remember who it were. He bought him some gear. Right, so they could play. He was great. Absolutely great. So many stories, you know.
Gold, yeah.
Can't remember. Can you remember? Did you play when Tom Hogan played?
Yeah, I played a few games that year, probably half a season.
Because Joe's after. What happened was, end of the year, he used to throw the stuff in for raffle, didn't they? Bat, gloves, hat. So I won't raffle. I do 8. Went round with pack. I got an ace. So they bloody hell got bat. You want bat? I said, no, I don't want bat. I've got a bat. Got gloves, got pads, and I've got his floppy hat. His white floppy hat, which I wore. But apparently, it's with a bobby too. It was the tour, Rebel Tour of South Africa. It was the hat that they gave him, the floppy hat with the emblem on front. So yeah. I was going to give it to you, but when I found out how much it's worth, I'm not going to do it.
Can you remember what else happened at the end of that Tom Hogan season?
Yes, he broke his wrist against Clive Lloyd. It was Clive Lloyd. Yeah. I know what he said. I remember saying, I have a plan, right? You know, Tom Hogan. And he said, put one down at the bottom. You know what Wolfpack is? Yeah. So I'll just toss him one up. We'll get him. And he did do. He hit it straight over at Wolfpack. I don't walk up round there going, They recorded it, John Wilbank. I'm not joking. But then, I think he broke his wrist. Did he try and catch a straight drive? Yes.
Yeah, it was something like that. Yeah, and he tried to play on with it.
And broke his wrist.
I remember going back to the club when we always had our the end of season drink back at the club, and Phil Aston said, "Right, I'm going to sup with you tonight." Tom Morgan was a big.
The last year of my captaincy with a bloke called Bob Lanchbury, right? Yeah. And he never ever split his collections, right? So he got one last match at season. He got a 70 odd, right? And he said, "Right, lads, go and get yourself up there, get yourself a drink." Jackie's there, behind bar with slippers, gonna serve the door, right? We looked through the window, he's driving off. He drove off. No, Jack, to you next week. Come on, lads, get your money out. We have to bloody pay for it. Well, we couldn't have a lot of money, so we had to cough up. We give him what we could, and week after, Bob Lanchbury. He weren't that bad. He couldn't bowl. He got a few 50s. I don't know what county he played for.
Gloucester and Worcester.
Yeah.
We're from Worcester. Sub-pros. The best sub-pros.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to have Trabaker, who we signed off a 6 for something against Enfield. But the best I can remember was David Capel.
Yeah.
He was on telly. He's had a big competition. Do you see him on telly?
Yeah, I saw him, yeah. They've been really good documentaries, them, haven't they, in the middle of it?
Yeah. I couldn't believe it when I saw him. He sub-pro. Well, he sub-pro for a few after that, but we were his first club. I think they were playing at Yorkshire. Sunday knew him, right? I think we're Northants. We're playing York. So he comes on, all right, introduce yourself. Great. I mean, ex-England. So we wins the toss and decides to bowl. And I think Ian Clarkson, can you remember Ian Clarkson?
Yeah, definitely.
Good cricketer. So he marks his run out. Must have been 5 or 6 paces. And I thought, I'm sure he bowls quicker than that. So he used to call me Stumpy. I don't think because I kept behind wicket. I think they were looking at. So he said, right, you get there. So So Alan says, well, I want you to bowl like 10. No, he says, I don't bowl 10 overs. So Lofty's like, I think it was Lofty. He's looking at him. Well, yeah. No, I said, I'll bowl 5 and then I'll come back. So he bowls 5, so I stands where I thought were right, yeah. Decent pace, medium pace, up 4 or 5 overs. He did Clarkson, I think he got, I'm not sure.
It was Nelson away. It was Nelson away. It was Nelson away. And
yeah, Nelson away. And
you were wicket keeping.
What, sorry?
You were wicket keeping, definitely. And I think I was captain.
91.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and it was Paul Garrity that he pinned. He carried have a helmet on, and he bowled off a short run up, and he bowled rapid, and you went back. You know. Yeah,
he said I bowl quicker every spell. Did he have 3 spells or something? His last ball was the quickest of the lot. Blinking heck of a miles back. He shot, and I think he said, "Well, I bat a bit," and he got 78. He flayed them all over.
Yeah,
He ended up that night at bar getting drunk. He ended up again. His wife had to come over and pick it. He really enjoyed playing with. I think it's the first time he'd ever played in league. He played for the clubs after in league. There's one off, but he really enjoyed it. I mean, he was impressive. Very impressive.
Outstanding. Have you got the scorecard up, Joe?
Yeah.
Did they get 170 odd?
They got 138.
Oh, really? Right.
Yeah.
Capel 5 for 40.
Yeah, he got 70 odd.
Yeah, he got 78.
Batting at
5.
Yeah, 5. Because what he was saying was, if you're going to send me in, I'll just go in and smash it. And if I don't get it, then let your other batters bat. That's
he did do those. He did do. He smashed it, didn't he? Smashed it.
And this would have been when Scuderi was at the height of his powers, I imagine.
Yeah, it was Scuderi at pro over there. I'm sure.
He bowled him out for 9.
Yeah.
They were good at.
Gordon, Send Morehouse to save the house.